Welcome everyone to quiz night at the 3-9 November. We're gonna have Wesley over here take it away and lead us through this night of aviation knowledge. So Wesley, it's all you.
Sounds good. Well, all right. Thank you everybody for joining tonight. Decided to change it up this time instead of a usual 60 slides. We got quiz night instead. All right. Well, anyways, just a brief introduction as always. My name is Wesley Chin. I'm a flight instructor at the Princeton Flying School, and I've been teaching here for actually just over 2 years now. I also did all my ratings there, so private through CFI at Princeton. And when I'm not flying, I'm in my last semester right now at Rutgers, finishing up finance major and also music minor. But what we're going to do, so we're going to be using this website called Quizzes. So I know right now only 5 people have been able to join. So I'm going to send this link in the chat again. So if you guys can click that, enter in that game code, and you can sign on, so that way we can kind of keep track of what's going on. But this way, all the questions, we're going to have 20 questions actually. They're going to show on everybody's screen. So if you're logged onto this, you can see it. At the end of each question, it'll show the leaderboard. We'll talk about why it's the right answer. I have some slides for all that stuff. And at the end, whoever's first place is going to get a Princeton Airport sweatshirt. Okay. Before we start though, I want to make sure that everyone can get onto this. It's still right now only have 5 people logged on. Is anybody having trouble logging onto this? All right, we got 6.
Looks like we're in the chat. Dennis.
Let's see. Okay, all right. We'll wait a couple more seconds. All right, anybody else trying to join right now? Okay, we got 7. All right, we got Dennis. Sounds good.
Well, we just, Gilbert, if you want to join, if you have any questions, how to join, and Alex. Or if you just want to listen, that's also cool too.
All right, anybody else? Okay, cool. We got 8. All right, sounds good. Michael Colley's here. Okay, sounds good. Gilbert's going to listen. And is that it? Let me see.
Wesley, what's the link or the number?
It is, here you go, 678154. 678154.
Oh, you need to click on that?
Let's see. I think, John, I have you in here, I think, right? Yeah, here we go.
Okay,
so
cool.
Like
Gilbert's going to Gilbert's going to listen, so we're good.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So we'll get started here. So hopefully this will all run smoothly. So I'll press start, and the questions should appear for everybody. But yeah, we got 20 questions. Everybody has a minute to do this. Okay, so I'll go to the full question view. You plan to take your friend up for a night flight down the shore. What do you need to do beforehand? So we got 3 options. 3 takeoffs and landings, full stop only in the preceding 60 days. 5 takeoffs and landings, that can be touch and go or full stop in the preceding 90 days, or 3 takeoff and landings, full stop only in the preceding 90 days. So you guys should be able to select the answers. I think so far we got 6 out of 9 people, 7. 30 seconds left. I think you also get more points if you answer correctly earlier. We'll see shortly. All right, waiting on one more person. Let's see. 14 seconds. All right, there we go. So all done, and it should pop up with the leaderboard to see what's going on. Okay, so far we got AG leading the pack, I think. All right, so. Okay, most of us got this right. So yeah, 7 people said 3 takeoffs and landings, full stop only in the preceding 90 days. And we got 2 other answers. So yeah, that one's correct. So what I'll do now is go back to these slides. I will go through kind of a brief explanation of why this is the right answer. So this is just coming directly from the FARs. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we need essentially 3 takeoffs and landings in the preceding 90 days to carry passengers. If you're doing it in daytime, it can be touch and go or full stop, but nighttime has to be full stop. So that's the main thing. Something else that wasn't in the question is that you also have to do these takeoff and landings in the same category in class. So category in our case, for most of us here, probably is airplane, and the class would be single engine land. So if you're going to do your landings in the multi, such as like a DA-42 or a Seminole, that's not going to make you legal to carry passengers in a 172, surprisingly. So we need to be careful about that. All right, so we'll continue here. Next question. Okay, which of the following items does not count as preventative maintenance? So got three options again. Cleaning or replacing fuel and oil strainers or filter elements, repairs to deep dents, cuts, scars, nicks, and straightening of aluminum blades, or replacing and servicing batteries. 40 seconds. We got 4 people have answered so far. All right, everybody has submitted an answer. Let's see what's going on. All right, it looks like Michael Colley is in the lead now. So we got 6 people with the right answer, which is repairs to the deep dents. So let's talk about this one briefly now as well. So I'll go back to the slides. All right. So preventative maintenance, all this is described in the FARs. Let me actually open this up so you guys can see what's going on. But here we go. Part 43 is all about your maintenance. And if we go to Appendix A, and you scroll down to paragraph C, which is right here. Preventive maintenance is limited to the following work provided it does not involve complex assembly operations. So the FRs actually spell out, I think it's like 31 different things that preventative maintenance is limited to. So it's got to come directly from there. So I think 2 of the answer choices I got from here, and the other one now is the right answer I just picked from one of these major alterations, right? So that's where that comes from. Not everybody can do preventative maintenance. It has to be done by someone that holds at least a private pilot certificate. So if you're a student pilot, you can't do that. Just as with any maintenance, you also have to log it. Now, here's the thing. Just because the regulations say you can do it doesn't mean it's a good idea. So if you have absolutely no experience with any one of those 31 things or what you want to do, probably not a good idea to do that, right? Okay, we'll get back to our third question. What resources should you use to obtain weather information as part of your pre-flight planning process? So we got only Aviation Weather Center, only 1-800-WX brief, or a combination of automated weather resources and flight service if needed. All right, let's see. We got about 25 seconds left. 7 answers are in. 2 more waiting for. Or actually, let's see. Michael Colley said, I'm going to sit the rest. Okay. All right. So I guess we were all good then. So I'll be excited of this as we finish the time. All right, let's see who's leading now. All right, Sandra's in first place. Cool. All right, so nobody said only Aviation Weather Center. 3 people said only 1-800-WX brief, and 5 people said a combination of online resources and flight service. So it's a little bit of an odd question, but I did want to have this in there. So if I go back to the slides, let's talk about this. So biggest thing, you may have heard this a bunch of times from me or hopefully other people, but there really is no such thing as getting a legal weather briefing. In fact, the FAA released an advisory circular maybe, I don't know, last year or something. And they're actually encouraging us now to conduct self-briefings that are still compliant with regulations, right? And to do that, we are allowed to use online automated weather resources. And if needed, we can still call or use flight service, right? And So resources such as, like we had in the slides, aviationweather.gov, 1-800-WXBrief.com. Perfect. Even ForeFlight, that's totally okay. ForeFlight's getting its information directly from those government sources, so it's not an issue at all. But you want to be careful about getting weather on those kind of third-party apps. You want to make sure you're getting a full briefing and not just looking at like, all right, the TAF or METAR for Trenton if you're going somewhere else. When you're on the flights tab, put in your flight, then you can send it to the map, and you can also press the briefing button. That way you get all the information you need for your flight, your NOTAMs, your current weather, forecasts, TFRs, all that other stuff. And it actually is logged in the ForeFlight system too. All right. If you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to drop that in the chat or unmute. But next up, according to the METAR, you have in this picture, what is the ceiling at Goshen? So we have 3,500 feet AGL, 2,700 feet MSL, or 2,700 feet AGL. I'm not going to help with decoding this, so let's see. Got 4. Okay, let's see. I think someone else was able to join. Very good. Got half of our responses in. We got 30 seconds left. All right, we got 12 seconds. 7 out of 10 have answered. All right, and time's up. So let's see what everybody said here. All right, Sandro's still in first place. Nice, nice. Okay, so 5 people said the ceiling was 3,500 feet AGL, and that is the correct answer. 2 people said 2,700 feet MSL, and nobody said that in AGL. So let's go to the slides and talk about why that is the answer. Okay. So definition of a ceiling, and this is coming from the AIM, it's the lowest broken or overcast layer. So that METAR actually had a scattered layer at 2,700. Even though there are clouds there, technically that doesn't count as a ceiling, oddly. Additionally, clouds are reported in AGL, or above ground level, or the surface. So in that case, you'd have to take into consideration the field elevation, right? So maybe if you're flying up to Mount Pocono, for example, right, the field elevation is 1915. And if you see the METARs reporting maybe broken at 2,000, that may seem low, but in reality, the clouds are more actually like at 4,000 MSL, right? So because the ceiling here in the METAR before we saw was it 3,500, right? 3,500. That's above 3,000. That counts as VFR. So ForeFlight highlights that as green. So what you don't want to do is just say that, oh, okay, it's green, we're good to go. Because if you read into that, METAR a little bit more, you see that the visibility is actually not that great. 7 miles. There's also light rain. There's a cloud layer that's lower than the ceiling, and 2,700 doesn't seem too bad, but it also could be like maybe few or scattered at 800 feet. And if there's a broken layer at 5,000, ForeFlight will still highlight that, and anything will still highlight that as VFR. So essentially, just because you see green for VFR, it doesn't mean you should go flying. Again, it could be that few or scattered layer at a lower altitude, or high winds, right? That has absolutely no effect on the conditions, right? You also want to make sure you're checking radar. There could be a line of storms moving in. The METAR is not going to tell you anything about it. So again, this comes back to the previous message from the last question. When you're checking your weather as part of your pre-flight planning process, do a full briefing, whether that's on ForeFlight or calling the briefer or using your automated resources. You want to conduct a thorough briefing and not just the METARs. All right, got a question in the chat from Alex. Do all weather resources report clouds in AGL as standard? And the answer is yeah. So every time you're going to see clouds, it's going to be AGL. So you do want to figure out what the field elevation is beforehand. All right, so we'll continue here. Question 5. How should you figure out who to call for flight following after departing out of a non-towered airport? So we have check the departure frequency of a nearby towered airport, check the chart supplement for that airport as it will list a departure frequency, or check the NOTAMs for that airport as they will always list flight following frequencies. 40 seconds left. 3 people have answered. All right, we got 10 seconds left. All right, and time is up. So let's see what's going on. All right, Sandra's still in first place. Very nice. Angie's cashing up there. Okay, so good mix here. So 3 people said to check the departure frequency of a nearby towered airport. 3 people said to check the chart supplement for that specific airport as it'll list a departure frequency, and that's our correct answer. And 1 person said to check NOTAMs as they will always list flight following frequencies. So let's see. In any case, one of these answers could be right. So let's kind of talk about this. Okay. So yeah, the right thing to do is to check the chart supplement. Is even for non-towered airports, they will still list various communication frequencies, including an approach and departure controller. For example, on ForeFlight, here we go. For Ocean County, right, in the info section, if you scroll down, we'll see approach and departure, McGuire approach, right, 126.47 is who I'd want to call, right? For the person that selected NOTAMs, so NOTAMs are for time critical information. So there could be a case where your NOTAM, would show your departure frequency, maybe if there was like a temporary frequency change for a specified period, right? In terms of checking for a frequency at a nearby towered airport, we could do that, but the best way to do it still is just to look at your specific airport and chart supplement, as it'll always show that frequency. So here's the thing though, you guys are probably not opening up a chart supplement hard copy to look for this information. So it's a lot easier to look on ForeFlight for this, as they decode it for you and also have the AFD pages for the specific airport linked to it. There's also a website called SkyVector. So just in case no one knows what this is, I am going to open it up. Nice free alternatives. You got your sectional. So for example, Princeton, right? So let's go to Princeton, see what's going on. Oh, not playing. So if you click on this, they have all of your airport information, and on the top left, the chart supplement. So right here, communications, right? We know our CTAF and Unicom is 122.72, but New York approach and departure is 132.8. So let's say, for example, though, we want to go from Princeton to Reading. If you've done that flight, you probably actually know that we don't call 132.8 for flight following right away. Instead, we'll go to Philly approach. And that's not something that you're going to find on your sectional or on the chart supplement. And that's just kind of from experience. So it's totally okay to call 132.8. As a matter of fact, you're supposed to, right? And if they see that you're about to leave that airspace or you're not supposed to be there, that's not a problem. Because if you ever end up on that wrong frequency, as long as they know where you are and they're talking to you, they'll give you the right frequency to go to. So it's not the end of the world if you call that departure frequency beforehand. All right, very good. All right. I think most of us will get this here if we fly Princeton. So if you see a star RP on the sectional for a specific airport, what does that mean? Is it right patterns for all runways, right pattern for helicopters only, or right pattern with limitations? You want to check your chart supplement for more information. Got 6 people have answered so far. About 30 seconds left. All right, and time is wrapping up here. So it looks like maybe only 7 people are going, so I'll just X out after that. Okay, so let's see see who's in first here. All right, Sandra's doing pretty well. Okay. So one person said star RP is right pattern for all runways. One person said right pattern for helicopters only. And 5 people said right pattern with limitations. Check the chart supplement for more information. And that is correct. So let's talk about that here. Pretty basic to understand this. So yeah, the star RP is going to indicate that there is right pattern at the airport, but there's some kind of special condition, and you want to check your chart supplement for more information. So for example, if we look at Princeton, so let me go back to SkyVector actually, we have right here in the airport remarks, if we read past a couple lines, it says runway 10 and 28 right traffic helicopter. So that's the special condition in our case. So it's not always that though. So just because you see star RP doesn't mean it's always right pattern for helicopters. It just means, okay, there's some kind of weird limitation or condition. Just check the chart supplement for more information again, right? So again, probably not going to pull out a paper copy and try to flip to that page. Don't do that. So instead, you can do what we just did, right? Look on SkyVector. Additionally, if you're using ForeFlight, you can actually pull up the page of the chart supplement, or the airport remark section from ForeFlight will decode the chart supplement to its best ability. However, that's not always correct. I think Princeton is actually an example. I believe, I don't know if that's still the case, that if you look at, as a matter of fact, I'm curious now to take a look. If you guys pull up Princeton and ForeFlight and go to the comments and then remarks tab, something is decoded off. Yeah, it actually says runway 10 right-hand traffic pattern, and then runway 1028 right traffic helicopters, which is pretty confusing. So in that case, not reliable. So again, just always remember that chart supplement or any FAA publication therefore would be the correct source. So Princeton 1028 right traffic for helicopters. Anyways, all this stuff though should be part of your pre-flight planning process, right? In addition to checking the weather and everything. If you're going to an airport, you should be looking at frequencies, runways, and of course, in this case, our pattern, altitude, and direction, right? You don't want to figure this stuff out while you get there. All right, I'll answer one question in the chat from Alex before we continue. He asked, can you set up flight following with clearance delivery on the phone prior to takeoff? That's a good question. You're probably not going to be able to do that. You can set it up with the controller, though, maybe if you're departing out of a towered airport, for example. Like if you're flying at a class C usually, or something with an approach or departure controller, they probably will ask you on the ground, what are your departure intentions? So you can give them your destination and cruising altitude, and they can set up flight following for you on the ground. You know, they'll give you the squawk code, they'll give you the departure frequency, and you put it in so that when you get in the air, they'll just tell you contact departure, and you're already all set with the flight following. But if you wanted to like call New York approach on the ground at Princeton for flight following, that wouldn't work. And you would do that maybe to file or pick up an IFR clearance, or if there's a TFR, maybe you're trying to get out of that in that situation, you can use it. All right, question 7. Let's see what we got. What VFR weather minimums are needed to fly in the pattern at Trenton at night? So Trenton is, let's give it to you guys, is Class D, Class Delta airspace. So we got 3 miles or 3 statute miles visibility and 1,000 feet above, 500 feet below, and 2,000 feet horizontally from clouds? Or is it 5 statute miles of visibility, 1,000 above, 1,000 below, and 1 statute mile horizontally from clouds? Or finally, 5 statute miles of visibility and clear of clouds? Let's see. We got 4 people to answer so far. About 25 seconds left. All right, and time is up here. All right, let's see. Sandro's still looking pretty good there in first place. Nice. All right, so 5 people got it right here. That was 3152, right? 3 miles of visibility, 1,000 above, 500 below, and 2,000 horizontal. 2 people answered the other one, 5111, right? 5 miles of visibility, 1,000 above, 1,000 below, and 1 mile horizontal from clouds. So let's talk about this here as well. Let's go back to the slides. So that's our answer, 3152. All right, so the question was, I don't know if tricky is the right word, but I added that phrase at night just to possibly throw anyone off. But yeah, the weather minimums at night are only different for Class G. So we're talking about Trenton. So even though it's nighttime, same thing, right? Class D VFR weather minimums are 3152. This is coming directly from 91,155. And this is a nice little handy chart coming from the PHAC. So for those of you who chose the second option, which was 5111, right? 5 miles visibility, 1,000 above, 1,000 below, 1 mile horizontal. That's just going to be any time you're at or above 10,000 feet MSL. And the whole reason for that is because your speed limit of 250 knots goes away. And now you have airplanes going super, super, super fast. And let's say one of those pops out of the cloud, you probably want to have more time to react to it, right? All right, question 8. Not sure how many are familiar with this concept, but as per FAA recommendations, how much should you increase your approach speed by if the airport has the following winds shown in the METAR? So I'll let you decode this yourself, but we got 3 choices: 10 knots, 5 knots, or 20 knots. About 30 seconds left. 2 people have answered so far. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, time is up. We got all of our answers in, it looks like. So I'm curious to see what. All right, nothing changed there in leaderboards. Let's see what people are saying. All right, interesting. So 6 people said 10 knots, and 1 person said 5 knots, which is actually the right answer. So I'll kind of talk about this concept. It's a little bit weird. So let's go back to our slides. In the meantime, let me just see if we can mute everybody. Okay. So let me, I guess I went 1 more than needed to. Okay, so here we go. The answer is 5 knots in this case. So we have something called a gust factor, and the gust factor is basically the difference between the gusts reported and then your sustained winds. So in this case, our METAR was, or the winds reported in the METAR was 180 at 12 knots, gusting to 22. So in that case, the gust factor would be 10, right? 22 minus 12. So the recommendation from the FAA, according to the Airplane Flying Handbook, is to add half of the gust factor to your approach speed. So in that case, that'd be 5 knots. So if we usually approach at 65 knots, maybe I'd want to approach at 70. Because again, it's better a little bit on the faster side when you're flying on a gusty day, because those sudden changes in airspeed, especially a sudden loss in headwind, can get you a little bit too close to stall speed, which is something obviously you don't want to be doing when you're so close to the ground. So that's the recommendation, half the gust factor. If you want to add a little extra speed, go for it. Just, make sure you have enough runway. Expect that you're going to eat up more runway in that landing roll too. But yeah, that's the whole gust factor concept. If it was sustained winds, then you shouldn't need to add anything, even if it's like a crosswind. No. All right, let's see what else we got. Question 9. When conducting your magneto check and moving the key to the left mag shows no drop in RPM, but the right mag does show a drop, what mag or mags may not be grounded? So let's kind of rephrase that. If I'm doing the mag check, right, I move the key to the left position and I don't see a drop. But if I go to the right, there is a drop. What's the problem here? Is it the right mag, the left mag, or both of them? think we got 7 people have been consistently answering. It looks like everybody has answered already. So let me, 8 actually. Okay, very good. I guess I'll wait the full time. We got 13 seconds left. All right, time is up. Let's see how our leaderboard looks. All right, looks like it hasn't changed there. All right, let's see. Okay, so even split between the right and left mag axis. So this will be pretty important to talk about. So the right answer is that the right mag is likely not grounded, and 4 of us said that, and the other 4 that answered said the left mag is the problem. So let's go over why it's the right mag. Okay, and all this stuff is, again, coming directly, in this case, from the PHAC. It's page 7-15, so chapter 7, page 15 in that case. So what's going on is, let's say we move the key to the left position. So what that's doing is it's isolating the left mag now. So that one's the one that's running, but now it's grounding out the right mag. And that's why we see that little decrease in performance, right? Because we're now, only running on the left mag. So if I don't see a drop in RPM, that indicates usually that the right mag is not being grounded, right? It's still running, and that's a big safety issue. And we can confirm this by doing, we can call it a grounding check. So for example, before you shut down, your power is at idle, you can take your key, quickly go to the off position and back to both. And what you're looking for is to hear a drop in RPM, right? The engine should be stuttering, right? The mags should be grounding. Because if you hear absolutely nothing there, the engine continues to run without any issue, that's a problem. There's likely a grounding issue, right? And if there's some residual fuel left in the cylinders and someone moves that prop from the outside, the engine could start. And obviously that could be disastrous. So in this case, don't fly it, park it, try your best, maybe put a cone in front of the prop, try to park somewhere that doesn't have a lot of foot traffic to not have that happen, right? And let somebody know so they can fix it. So that's the whole mag check concept there. All right, let's see, question 10. So we are halfway here. All right, if we want to fly to Canada, what additional documentation is needed? Radio station license for the airplane, radio telephone operator permit for the pilot, or both of those previous answers? Now we got 5 people, 6 people, 7. Probably just waiting on one more. Got 30 seconds left. All right, 10 seconds. Maybe that additional person can answer, maybe not. Let's see. Okay, time is up. So let's see what our answer distribution is looking like. All right, leaderboard. So Sandra's in first place, then Eubin's catching up there pretty close. Okay, so this is also good to talk about. So 4 of us said radio station license for the airplane. And 3 the correct answer, which is actually both of those things, the radio station license and the radio telephone operator permit. So also something good to talk about. Okay, so we need both of those additional documentations. So yeah, everybody, well, hopefully everybody knows AERO, right? That's our acronym we use for the required documentation on board the airplane before you fly, right? We have the airworthiness certificate, we got the registration certificate, operating limitations, and weight and balance, right? Now, the second R we usually say is the radio station license, and that's needed only for international flight, like in this case, right? what people don't usually associate with it or kind of forget is that you, the pilot, also need some form of radio license. And we call that the radio telephone operator permit. You need that to be able to legally talk on the radios internationally, right? I'm not going to go through the whole process of it because the website from the FCC is pretty atrocious. But to do it, you first have to register for an FCC registration number. And then you have to go to a separate site using that number and then apply for what we call a restricted radio telephone operator license. RR is the code you'd see for that. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it's a very poorly designed website, I will say, but there are some good instructions online to kind of figure that out. But yeah, if you want to go international, two things that you need in addition to the basic documentation, right? Radio station license for the plane, and you also need to have a radio telephone operator permit.
Wesley, it's $35.
$35. All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much, Ruben. Let me ask you, do you have one?
No, I'm about to.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I got it a couple months ago. I don't know how much I paid, but yeah, so it's a pretty bad website. It's kind of annoying to figure out. All right. Anyway, so question 11. All right. Which of the following airports has the highest density altitude? You guys don't need to pull out an E6B or try to calculate anything. Just kind of using your knowledge of the factors of density altitude, or some of them at least, and what you can see in the METARs, you should be able to figure it out. We got three choices, three different airports. I won't decode anything. I'll let you guys kind of think this through and figure it out. But we got 35 seconds left. Three answers are in. All right, 10 seconds. Got 6 answers so far. All right, and time is up. So let's see. All right, Sandro, Euban, and AG, that's our top 3 right now. So, okay. We got 2 people said the first airport, Mount Pocono. We had, I forget what that airport is. COS. I don't know if anyone knows. I forget where I pulled that from. But Aspen, the last one, right? That's our right answer in this case. So let's talk about why. And let's go to the slides. Okay. So density altitude. Yeah, the book says, I think it's pressure altitude corrected for non-standard temperature. Totally correct. If you want to just think of it realistically or practically, it's the altitude at which the airplane feels like it's flying at, right? So that means a high density altitude would correlate to decreased air density and therefore decreased performance, and vice versa, right? Low density altitude would mean higher air density and your airplane should have better performance. Again, density altitude is kind of where your airplane feels like it's at, that's kind of where its performance is. And there's 3 main factors that affect density altitude, and we were able to take a look at 2 of them from that question, right? So altitude, temperature, and humidity. If any of those go up, your density altitude also goes up, or in other words, your air density goes down, right? So in our previous answers, I go back here. This last choice had the highest temperature and also the highest field elevation. So that was pretty clearly if we know those factors, the highest density altitude. So why do we really care about this? Well, we talked about performance, right? An increase in density altitude is going to result in decreased performance. So you're going to have an increased takeoff distance, reduced rate of climb, and also a longer landing roll distance. So if you're carrying a full load, a lot of fuel, you're flying on a hot, humid day, especially if you're flying at a high elevation airport, you really, really want to be careful about this concept and make sure that you're doing your performance calculations in your POH, right? And you're adding your safety margin onto your takeoff and landing distances, all that good stuff. So that's density altitude. All right, question 12. All right, what do you need to do to fly in this airspace? We got a picture next to it, got an arrow pointing at it. Nothing. Ask for permission on the frequency listed on the sectional, or circumnavigate it, as you must avoid all special use airspace. 45 seconds left for answers. All right, I think we got 7 people answered so far. That seems to be the number that caps it. So what I'll do, I'll exit out and see if this will give us our leaderboard. Maybe we have to wait there. Let's see. Okay, and now the time's up. So let's see leaderboard and then answer distribution. All right, so top 3 is looking pretty consistent. You've been in AG catching up too. All right, so yeah, the right answer is actually nothing. 5 of us answered that. 1 person answered ask for permission on the frequency listed on the sectional, and 1 answered circumnavigate, as we have to always avoid special use airspace. All right, so this is also something good to talk about, especially as we have a pretty big alert area just to the south of our airport. Okay. So yeah, special use airspace, not going to bite you. You don't have to avoid all of them. And one of those examples is the alert area. That's one that you do not actually need permission to enter. We just have to, as they say, exercise extreme caution due to like a high volume of pilot training, which is definitely what you would see there. Doesn't mean you have to go radio silent. It's always a good idea to pick up flight following. So for example, if you're flying down south or southeast, probably going through that alert area, A220, you can call McGuire approach. They're not going to clear you in to enter or anything, but you pick up flight following, you will get those traffic advisories, which is super, super helpful, right? But generally for all special use airspaces, the bottom of your sectional chart will give you more information about them. So you'll see the number, the altitudes, the time of use, and of course the controlling agency and the frequency to contact them if maybe you did need permission to enter or you had questions about it, such as maybe a restricted area, right? And let's say, if you're not using the paper chart, which I'm sure a lot of us aren't at this point, it's not the end of the world, because ForeFlight, for example, will still show this information to us. So you guys should, I recommend having the aeronautical layer turned on the map view. So if you turn that on, it'll actually highlight all the different airspaces that are around you, including special use airspace. And this is kind of what it looks like. So in this case, like this restricted area, I was able to press on it and it gave me more information about it. So it's telling me, okay, surface to 4,000 and controlling agency here, right? McGuire approach 12647. And I have additional information about it, the hours, activation, all that. So a lot easier to read, and again, equally as helpful as looking at the bottom of your sectional. So again, you can use that to help you figure out all your special use airspace stuff. All right, question 13. Okay. You just landed at Block Island for a day trip with some friends, but now the FBO is asking you to pay a $20 parking fee. Your friends are already equally splitting the rental costs with you. Can you also ask them to cover the parking fees at Block Island? 3 choices. No, you can only equally split rental fees. Yes, they can cover the parking fees completely. Or yes, you can equally split airport expenditures. All right, 30 seconds. Got 4 answers in. Okay, we got 7 answers. I think that's seems to be the number. So let's see if I press end question, what will happen? Yes. Okay, so yeah, I think it'll show our leaderboard now. All right, so now moving up there. Okay, so all right, interesting distribution. So 4 of us answered no, you can only equally split rental fees. 1 person said yes, they can cover the parking fees completely, and 2 people got it right. It was yes, you can equally split airport expenditures. So let's take a look at the regulation about this one here. So 61.113 in paragraph C, it says, a private pilot may not pay less than the pro rata share of the operating expenses of a flight with passengers, provided the expenses involve only fuel, oil, airport expenditures, or rental fees. So in other words, you, the pilot, have to pay at least your equal share. The passengers can do whatever the heck they want, but you've got to pay at least your equal share. And it applies to those above expenses, right? Those flight-related operating expenses. This does not apply if you have your own airplane and you want to have your friends chip in for maintenance. That's a totally separate thing, right? Just for flight-related expenses. So yeah, that parking fee or landing fee does count in that case, so they can help to split. All right, question 14. Okay, you're taxiing at Allentown and come across this marking on the taxiway. Hopefully you guys can see that picture. Do you have to stop? Now we got three choices. Only if instructed by ATC to do so. Yes, you must always stop and wait for ATC clearance. Or no, these markings are only for aircraft operating under an IFR flight plan. Got about 35 seconds left. I think we're waiting for one more person if it's still the 7 that are answering. Okay, so we got 7 answers. I'm going to say that's it. If anybody has an answer, let me know and I'll continue. But let's see. Okay. AG's back in 3rd place there. All right. So pretty even distribution here. Okay. So 3 of us got it right. It was only if instructed by ATC to do so. 2 people answered you always have to stop, and 2 people answered you don't have to stop since it's only for IFR aircraft. Yeah, this is it's kind of weird. Not a lot of people come across this or understand it, so it's good to talk about this because there are some examples nearby. This is called an ILS critical area. ILS critical area. And you have to stop before an ILS critical area only if instructed by the controller. And the whole reason is maybe there is somebody on the approach that's shooting the ILS. And if you taxi past that line, you may interfere with the signal, and you don't want to do that. So in those kind of situations, the controller will tell it to stop. And after the landing aircraft is on the ground and finished with your approach, or finished with your approach, I should say, the controller will clear you to cross and you'll have no problem. But if they don't tell you anything about it, you're good to go. All right, so that's ILS critical areas. Question 15. Still don't have to do any planning here, but what cruising altitude would be legal for a VFR flight from Princeton to Atlantic City? You've calculated the true course to be 176, magnetic course to be 188, but you actually have to fly a magnetic heading of 179 to correct for wind. So you have 3 choices: 5,500 MSL, 4,500 MSL, or 5,000 MSL. 30 seconds left. 3 people have answered. Yeah, it's all about our VFR cruising altitudes. Got about 20 seconds. Okay, there's our 7 people that have answered. I'm going to end the question. And let's see our leaderboard. All right, look at that. So some changes. AG is leading now. Okay, so 2 of us said 5,500 MSL, which is your odd choice. And then 5 people said the right answer, which was 4,500 MSL. So let's talk about this VFR cruising altitude rule, all right? So the regulation 91-159 spells out this information, but we have VFR cruising altitudes that we have to follow, and they are based on magnetic course, or track, if you want to call it track. That's the same term. Not true, so it has nothing to do with true. It's all magnetic. So you actually have to, in this case, for us at Princeton, add 12 degrees, right? It's also only above 3,000 feet AGL. So if you're planning on flying below that, you wouldn't have to follow this rule. But what it is if you're flying a VFR magnetic course, again, if your magnetic course is from 0 to 179, you've got to fly an odd thousands plus 500. But if you're on the other half, 180 to 359 magnetic course, it's an even thousands plus 500. Easiest way to remember it, neon Sweven, right? So if you're flying directly north or anywhere in that east portion for a magnetic course, you have to fly odd plus 500. And if you're flying directly south, that's the S, or anywhere in the west portion, that's even thousands plus 500. And again, it's all based on magnetic course. So I kind of gave some extra information in the question, right? We don't care about true course or magnetic heading, right? It's all about the magnetic course. All right. Question 16. Okay, this airport doesn't exist anymore, but let's say you want to fly from Twin Pines, November 75, back to Princeton, but Twin Pines is located within Trenton's Class D airspace. How in the world do we get out of there? How do we depart? So 3 choices. Self-announce on the CTAF and then switch directly to Princeton CTAF after departing. Or do we self-announce on the CTAF and then call Trenton Tower as soon as practicable after takeoff? Or do we directly call Trenton Tower on the ground for takeoff clearance? So essentially, how do we get out of a non-towered airport that's located within controlled airspace? Kind of weird. But yeah, if you guys are interested in this airport, it doesn't exist anymore. I think it's a soccer field now, but you guys can look it up. It's a cool website that explores all of the abandoned or just kind of past airports in the state, which is kind of cool. But all right, anyways, looks like time is up. We have all of our answers in, and let's see. Our leaderboard. All right, looks like remaining the same so far. Okay, so all right, most of us got this one right. The right thing to do is to self-announce on the airport CTAF and then call Trenton Tower as soon as practicable after takeoff. And one of us answered to call Trenton on the ground directly for takeoff clearance, right? So let's take a look now at the slides, kind of go over that specific regulation and how to deal with this. So yeah, 91.129 says from a satellite airport without an operating control tower, so just like in this case, you must establish and maintain two-way radio communications within the ATC facility having jurisdiction over the Class D airspace as soon as practicable after departing. So in other words, just like we were saying in the answer, tell people you're taking off on the CTAF, and once you get in the air at a safe altitude, you're not doing any important checklists, then you switch to the tower, you let them know where you are and what your intentions are, right? They're probably not going to be able to hear you on the ground, so again, you want to be waiting to do that in the air. Yeah, Twin Pines does not exist anymore. I'm trying to think of some examples nearby of a non-towered airport within controlled airspace. Maybe Lincoln Park, I got to take a look, but you guys may find that some places. All right, question 17. All right, you and a friend are flying up separately to go get breakfast at Sky Manor. What frequency should you use to communicate to each other along the way? 123.45, 123.05, or 122.75? So if you guys want to chat, figure out what we're going to do later, you just want to talk to each other, right? What frequency should you go on to do that? All right, got about 25 seconds left, and there's our 7 answers. I'm going to say that that's everybody, so let's see. Okay, let me end the question. This will be interesting. Okay, so AG is remaining in the lead now. All right, so yeah, it's pretty good. Most of us got this right. One person said 123.45, one said 123.05, and 5 of us got it right, which was 122.75. All right, so let's take a look at this regulation now. So coming directly from the AM, right? It says this following listing depicts other frequency uses as designated by the FCC. And right here, the first line, air-to-air communication between private fixed-wing aircraft. You guys can use 122.75 to keeping, if you want to keep everyone else updated of where you are along the route or whatever the weather, setting plans, whatever it is, 12275 is where you want to go. A lot of people use 123.45. I don't really know why, but it's pretty popular. Technically, we're not supposed to use that, though. It actually, if you guys take a look, the bottom one says 123.45 is for assignment to flight test, land, and aircraft stations. Now, that's definitely not what we're doing, right? So 122.75 is what we use for air-to-air communication. I guess I'll also point out that second to last one here, the third one, says aviation instruction. Frequency 123.5. Maybe some of you guys know, but that's the I guess unofficial practice area frequency that we use, and that's where it directly comes from, right? That's why we have 123.5 chosen. All right. Question 18, getting close to the end here. Okay. If you launched a rocket all the way up from surface to 75,000 feet above Morristown, what airspaces in order would you encounter, right? So we got a lot of different choices. We got Class D, E, B, E, A, E. So again, this is all from ground up to 75,000. Or second one is we got Class Delta, Echo, Bravo, Echo, and Alpha, or just Delta, Bravo, Echo, and Alpha. Kind of a tricky question. Good kind of check ride or oral exam thing, but let's see who can figure this out. We got about 20 seconds left. 5 of us have answered so far. There should be a picture of the sectional there. All right, I think we're waiting on one more. We got about 5 seconds left. All right, here's our full 7. So let me X out of here. I'll just let that timer expire. Okay. And AG is looking pretty good there in the lead. All right, even distributions. We got 2 people got it right. And then we have, I'm not going to say it all again. 3 people had the second answer and 2 people had the third answer. So let's talk about all this in order now. So yeah, the first one was the right answer here. So again, you control the airspace. Again, this is just coming directly from the AIM. So maybe it's more helpful for me to just pull it up directly on SkyVector rather than reading this. So let's do that. So here is Morristown. This ring around it, the dash blue, indicates this is Class Delta from surface up to, in this case, 2,700 MSL. Above that, we have Class E, right? E is everything else. Class E from 2701, if I want to call it that, all the way up to 2999, because the Bravo in this case starts at 3,000. So now we have Class B from 3,000 to 7,000. Above that, nothing else, nothing control. So we have Class E again, all the way from 7,001 up to, but not including 18,000 MSL. And once we reach that flight level 180 to 600, we are now in Class A, Class Alpha airspace for IFR. But the question was asking, it was up to 75,000 feet. And what a lot of people don't realize is above flight level 600 is actually also Class E. So that's another spot where E exists. Practically, probably never going to use that, but that's all. All right, got our second to last question. What radio calls are required when inbound to land in Princeton? We got 3 choices again: 10 miles, 5 miles out, overflying, joining the 45, each legging the pattern, clear the runway. Or is it 10 miles out, joining the pattern, clear the runway, or none? Who's talking is lame. Let's see. Got about 30 seconds left. I think we're waiting on probably one more person right now. Okay, there's our 7 answers. I'm going to say that's good. I will end this. Take a look at the leaderboard. All right, I don't see any changes there. So AG is remaining in first place. Okay, so interesting again. So 3 of us said the first answer, which is all those radio calls, 10, 5, overflying, etc. 2 people said the middle option, which is just calling 10 miles, joining the pattern and clear. And 2 people said none, which is actually the right answer. So let's again talk about why that's the case. So get to the slide, but yeah, this is again coming directly from the AIM. I think it's I guess chapter 4, section 1-9, something like that. But the main thing is that you actually don't legally have to make any radio calls when you're operating at non-towered airports. Kind of weird. Yeah, you don't need to talk on the radios legally at non-towered airports. It doesn't mean you should do that, but legally you don't have to. As the AIM does recommend you to make your first call when inbound at 10 miles out, followed by each leg of the pattern and clearing the runway. In addition, though, I'd say it's also good to call when you're about 5 miles out, traffic permitting, though, if you need to. When you're overflying the field and then joining the pattern, typically on your 45-degree entry to the downwind. So that's the recommendation. Yeah, all this radio stuff we teach at non-towered is recommended. Technically, you don't have to talk. So in that case, you want to be extra careful. Don't just assume that, okay, I didn't hear anybody, that we're good to go, line up on the runway or everything like that. Look outside. There's no excuse for not doing that, right? Because there could be someone on short final that has not been talking, and that has happened. All right, we got our last question here. Okay. What is the meaning of the little open circle symbol here on the airport? Is it the location of an airport beacon, location of a VOR, or location of the control tower? It's our last question. Let's see. Okay, got 40 seconds left. I think we're waiting just on 2 more answers. All right, and there's our 7th. So I will end this question. All right, so let's see our final leaderboard in this case. Who was walking home with our sweatshirt? All right, looks like first place we got AG. So we'll get back to that soon after I finish talking about this very briefly. But yeah, it's actually location of VOR, and 3 of us got that right. 3 people said location of the airport beacon, and 1 person said location of the tower. So nothing really to explain with this, just coming directly, in this case, from our aeronautical charts user guide, page 25, tells us exactly what this is. But that little open circle symbol will show the location of the nav aid, in this case, the VOR, exactly where it is on the airport. So that's all that is for the explanation. So I'll go back to this, and I don't know what's going to happen if I press next question, but yeah, we'll end the quiz. And will it show the leaderboard still? Oh, let's see. Okay, I guess it does. All right, interesting with whatever this is. But all right, congratulations, AG. Looks like you're going to be getting your Princeton Airport sweatshirt. Pretty sauce. AG came in first, BI came in second, you've been in third. Very good. Gives us all this other stuff. Toughest question, longest question. Okay, interesting metrics, but excellent. All right, let me see if Gab is here to talk about how we're going to get that sweatshirt. Okay, awesome. So we finished, and AG won. He got first place. He got the most points.
Congratulations, awesome. AG.
Thanks. Yeah, it was like taking my check ride again.
That's right. What do you guys think of these questions? I'm curious if they're like too hard or too easy. I don't know.
I thought some of them were kind of hard.
Yeah, I tried to make it a little bit more challenging.
I gotta say the one with the on-tower, that almost tricked me, but then I realized I remember someone saying it's a non-tower airport, you can do whatever you want, and I realized, oh, technically none. So I almost fell for that one. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I like them. They're fun, and the VOR, good. I didn't know that.
All right, good. So yeah, so hopefully you guys got something out of this, and it wasn't just nothing. But all right, very good.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'll share the link of the PowerPoint with all the answer choices and whatever. The explanations will be attached to the YouTube video when this goes up, if you guys want to look at that again. But yeah, hopefully this was enjoyable. Maybe we'll do this again.
Yeah, I was impressed, and I loved technology. Thanks, Wesley.
Yeah,
That was
I
like-
wasn't sure. I was like trying to find something that would work. It was not terrible. This
Worked
website.
really
So
well.
That works
Very good.
quite well. Yeah.
good. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad it all worked out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think this was fun. Changing it up from the usual.
Definitely. Yeah. If your feedback, like people, pilots, really helps. So let us know, like, yes, this was great. Or like these questions where we want, could we have something focused on maybe just like a quiz night on a specific topic or keep it general. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We value those suggestions very much.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Wesley. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you flying on the days that aren't too windy.
That's right. Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep.
Congratulations again, AG. I
Thanks.
will make sure we'll put a sweatshirt aside for you. Well, when you come in, we'll like get the size and everything, and you can wear that proudly.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yep. I'm reading the comments. Focus topics would be great too. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Great.
Let us know exactly what you want to be covering, and we'll try our best to make that happen.
Definitely.
My
And
pride is.
Say it again.
No, sorry. I think I just said something by mistake.
Yeah. And next time we had a pretty great turnout. So if you have like pilot friends that you were studying with, or you haven't, hey, come check this out. We'll get that comment.
Yeah. It's just not just for 39M people.
Yeah.
Hopefully for everyone.
Yeah. That was exciting when the people were changing too in the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
That's right. It was pretty interesting to watch that. So cool. I'm glad it worked out.
Awesome. Thank you, Wesley. Thanks, everyone.
Of
We'll
course.
see you
Okay.
flying at the
Enjoy.
airport.
Got it. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for
Have a
joining
good
tonight.
night. Thank
Have
you
a good
very
night.
much.
See you guys later.